Welcome to today's Explainer. We're looking at a truly pivotal moment in tech right now. It's July 14th, 2026, and what we're seeing unfold is honestly absolutely fascinating. AI isn't just experimental software running in isolated labs anymore. It's rapidly transformed into critical, physical, and downright geopolitical infrastructure. The stakes are sky high, it's moving incredibly fast, and this landscape is maturing in ways that are going to permanently reshape the global economy. Let's get right into it.
$42.6 billion. Let's just pause on that number for a second. To put it into perspective, that is roughly the entire GDP of a country like Iceland. But here, it's the exact value of a 5% equity stake that OpenAI has just proposed offering to the United States government. You heard that right. This isn't just some minor policy tweak. We're looking at an unprecedented financial maneuver sitting right at that complex intersection of big tech and state power.
Okay, let's dive into this pitch. OpenAI took this directly to President Trump, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Now, to be totally clear, an arrangement of this magnitude will absolutely require congressional approval before anything happens. But what makes this so incredibly complex is the timing. This proposal is running completely parallel to OpenAI's highly confidential IPO preparations, not to mention their ongoing trade secret lawsuit with Apple. They've effectively put these massive legal and policy negotiations on simultaneous tracks right ahead of their target filing window.
Interestingly, this proposal is officially modeled on the Alaska Permanent Fund. Now, why does that matter? Well, just like Alaskans get a literal dividend from state oil wealth, tech analysts like Aaron Rose point out that using this familiar public vehicle gives policymakers a concrete mechanism. It lets them actually evaluate public participation in AI economics. Instead of having a vague, theoretical debate about wealth distribution, we now have a specific, tangible structure right there on the table. And honestly, whether Congress advances it or not, the mere existence of this proposal permanently shifts the regulatory conversation.
But look, software and policy are really only half the story here. We have to talk about the physical reality. $39.62 billion. That is TSMC's record-breaking second quarter revenue. We spent so much time talking about the AI models themselves, but physical compute is the ultimate bottleneck for this entire ecosystem. It's the engine. And this staggering number is undeniable proof that the massive capital flowing into AI is directly translating into real, tangible hardware orders.
Just looking at the data, we're seeing a massive 36% year-over-year surge in TSMC's revenue. That is proof of aggressive hardware deployment happening across the industry. But we do need to balance this explosive growth with the recent warning from the Bank for International Settlements. The BIS actually cautioned that this level of AI infrastructure spending risks exceeding past tech booms, which could eventually lead to systemic market disruption. So we've got this fascinating tension building, massive current hardware demand versus deep uncertainty about long-term financial returns.
And this brilliantly illustrates how those hardware constraints are already playing out in real time. On one side, you have Google. They are heavily utilizing vertical integration, meaning they own their compute and can prioritize their own workloads when capacity gets tight. On the other side, there's Meta. They rely heavily on external compute, and right now, they're facing project delays because Google actually had to physically ration Meta's access to Gemini models due to those capacity limits. Owning your compute radically reduces your dependency risk, while renting introduces severe scheduling uncertainty. This exact bottleneck dynamic is why Meta is rushing so fast to expand their own physical infrastructure, like their upcoming data center in Alberta.
Meanwhile, competitors like Anthropic are actively adapting to secure their own future. For one, they're in active talks with Samsung for a custom AI chip tailored specifically for their Claude models, which is a huge strategic move to control their hardware destiny. On the financial side, they've officially reached profitability here in 2026. They are on track for roughly $47 billion in annualized revenue, and they're prepping for a potential IPO as early as October. Their distinct strategy of focusing strictly on cost structure and enterprise adoption gives them incredible flexibility compared to the rest of the pack.
Let's move to the horizon and see how this all builds together, because the pace of this industry is absolutely relentless. By July 15th, we're looking at the scheduled shutdown of ByteDance's Dongbao agent under new regulations. Then, jumping to July 17th, we have this incredible collision of events. The expected launch of Google's Gemini 3.5 Pro happening on the exact same day as the World AI Conference opening in Shanghai, featuring President Xi Jinping. Groundbreaking product launches are literally intersecting with major global governance milestones.
So, what does this all mean? Well, it brings us to our final, provocative thought for today's explainer. Who will ultimately control AI? I mean, really think about it. Is it going to be governments demanding equity stakes and passing strict regulations? Will it be chip makers like TSMC, who hold the physical bottleneck of compute in the palm of their hands? Or will it be the frontier labs themselves, dictating the sheer pace of innovation? As this industry matures at lightning speed, this is the dynamic you absolutely have to watch.
Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.